So today we're going to talk about a part of the design process called site analysis. Site analysis is a critical step because it is where you learn about your site. Without doing a site analysis before attempting a design, you are blinding yourself and cheating your client. The first step of any site analysis is to visit the site and record what you find. This is how you create the site inventory. Now, what are we looking at here? This is the site inventory. It's a graphic representation or catalog of the information on the site. In layman's terms, it's a map. So what do we have on the site here? We have here the house, the driveway, a path going from the driveway to the house. There's an old oak tree, a couple of poplar trees. We see over here there's a vacant lot with weeds. Here's a view to the ocean with some beach access, a barbecue, some benches, and a fire pit. We have shed, rusting old lamps. We have labeled winds, which direction the winds come from, whether they're strong or weak. The road, climate things such as very hot in the afternoon. So there's a myriad of things that could end up on your inventory. Basically, you want to be as thorough as possible, though, when you're doing your inventory, because that's going to inform your site analysis. Now, many people stop here at the inventory and they think that they have done a site analysis. But if you stop here, you haven't done any analysis at all, really. So it's not a site analysis at all. It's just the inventory. In the site analysis, we have to draw some analysis about our site by using the inventory. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Let's look at just a simple example here. Here we have an old retaining wall, and there's been some damage done to it by rainwater draining through this one spot here, and so the wall is falling apart. That's the inventory, retaining wall with an eroded section. Now for the analysis part. What does this mean for my site? Well, it could mean a couple of things. First, it tells me that this flat spot here, this area of grass, is going to get wet. So I need to do something to deal with that. So I'm going to write here, drainage needed. That could be all that I need to do. However, I want to stress that with the analysis, there are several different options, and I would encourage you to explore all of the different potential implications that it means. So yes, this does mean I could just settle this, that I need drainage through here. That could be a pipe, that could be a swale, some way to get the water off. But maybe I want to take a different approach to it. Maybe instead of draining the water away, I want to collect the water. Maybe I can look at this and I say, oh, this is a great area for a water feature. I know that I have water draining through here already. Instead of fighting that and just trying to remove it, maybe I want to encourage that. And so I say, this is where I'm going to put a water feature. That could end up being a pool, that could be a pond, it could be a water fountain, it could be several different things. But there's both of these are legitimate site analyses or analyses of these problems. It could be a water feature, it could be that I just need to drain this area. But I just wanted to point out, this is the conclusion from my inventory. My inventory just tells me that I have a damaged retaining wall. But that isn't going to inform my design. What's going to inform my design is what I do in the analysis stage. So now, let's go ahead and look at this site. And I just want to walk through some basic site analysis points that perhaps I would make if we were actually working with this site. And this is going to be similar to what you're going to be doing in the project this week, and so pay close attention to this. So first things is, I see here that I have an ocean view, and I have beach access. And I can see that they put benches out here and a fire pit. They have a barbecue. Obviously, they like to use this spot. We can infer by their their placement of the benches that they would like to have a better view of the ocean. We also see that we have some windows here that would provide this view, but right now it's blocked by these poplar trees. Well, poplar trees are trash trees anyways, so I would say remove. These trees need to be removed. Not though just because I don't like them, but remove them because I want to provide view. I want to provide a view of the beach. Now, I also see here, right now they have a dirt path that goes through here. They have this area out here. They've created a makeshift fireplace. So this area seems like it would be ideal for creating maybe an outdoor room. You know, an outdoor room for entertaining, for eating, etc. Could consider I could consider that going here. Now you'll see I'm not creating a specific shape. This square does not mean that this is the final form that it's going to take. But I'm just delineating this area here is a potential area for outdoor room. I also look here and see strong winds. That could be something bad. Let's assume in this case that the owner said that they don't like the strong winds at night. And so I would say, well, I need to come up with some way of buffering that. Conversely, perhaps the owners have said that they like, though, the winds coming from this direction because it helps to cool off the house. So in this case, then, I would want to allow the winds to come through. So permit the wind to move through the site. Over here we see that we have a shed. And this is quite close to the garage here. In fact, if you see here the door, you know, this is probably difficult. You have to come out, close the door before you can move past. It's probably difficult to move equipment through there, so you'd have to go all the way around. So perhaps that would be indicative of that we need to move the shed. I don't know where yet. That would be part of the design, but I do know that I need to move it. I have then here utilities coming into the house, so I need to make sure that I don't interfere with the utilities. And because these come in, we'll say a power line above ground and the gas line below. So we say what that means is don't put any, you know, no trees, no deep digging. And if I can't dig deep there, that would mean don't put my fence posts right there. Which leads me to a second point. Right now, it's very open from the front to the back. And I think that this would be benefited by having a little bit of privacy. So perhaps we say needs fence. Or a better way, perhaps, would be to say create privacy. And we could repeat that over here. Now working around further, we have here rusting lamps. So let's say replace those lamps. And here we have a driveway is coming up, and that's fine. The pathway, though, you'll notice comes to the driveway, and it doesn't actually ever come down to the sidewalk. So that would be something that we can say needs connection. And here, this house was obviously built in the 70s because it's just full of junipers. So perhaps we would say here, remove junipers. And this area looks like, with the form of the house being right next to the door, it would be perhaps a great area for a sitting area, or a great area for a front porch type area. Again, I'm not designing anything. I'm not saying, okay, this is going to be circular, it's going to be square, it's going to be angular, it's going to have this type of paving or these type of plants or anything. Right now I'm just identifying that that would be potentially a good area to have a front porch. I move over here, this is an oak tree, this is a 100-year-old oak tree, so I want to make sure that I keep that tree and that I don't disturb its roots. Moving over here then, it says here this area is very hot in the afternoon, and I also know that this is a vacant lot with weeds, so perhaps we'd like to, we're removing these trees, perhaps though we would like to add trees over here to block this view a little bit and to provide some cooling to the house in the afternoon. Now, a final thing to note. Well, so this is the analysis. This is the inventory, what's actually on the site. This is the analysis, what that means for the site. Now, you're going to have to go through this process, like I said, for your assignments, and hopefully this helps to clarify a little bit about the difference between site analysis and site inventory. A final thing to note, though, you don't have to stick to your analysis religiously. Some things might be minor enough that you can just ignore them, because to deal with them would be unusually difficult, or they might totally throw off, Okay, a final thing to note. You don't have to stick to your analysis religiously. Some things might be minor enough that you can just ignore them, because to deal with them would be unusually difficult. But don't ignore major things. That's what's going to get you and your design into trouble, and it can cause it to not function properly, and you don't want that. A final thing to note, you don't have to stick to your analysis religiously. Some things might be minor enough that you can just ignore them, because to deal with them would be unusually difficult. But don't ignore major things. That will get your design into trouble and could cause it to not function properly. Hopefully this helps you to visualize the difference between site analysis and site inventory. If you have any other questions, you need further guidance, be sure to email me or post in the discussions, and I'll answer those questions for you. Good luck on this week's project.